Director Barnes.
Here.
Director Duplessis.
Present.
Director Markowitz. Director Guzman. Director Pacho.
Here.
Director Sloss.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Scholas. Director Taylor. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Thank you so much again, Ms. Yolanda, and board members for being present on today. Prior to asking for your approval of the minutes from our last meeting, I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs and highlights and thank yous, I would say on behalf of all of us, but clearly the hardworking men and women of this utility. Had the pleasure of participating in a employee meeting, just showing up and of course speaking to, but listening and answering questions from our employees. I wanted to tell them firsthand, and even here this morning, being able to advance the cost of living adjustment thanks to the New Orleans City Council. Councilman King is here, who adopted and approved the administration's package that went to them for final approval. And so we will have that one-time 5% of base salary going to city employees. The utility has embraced that same practice. We anticipate that one-time payment being extended by October the 15th. And again, it will be one-time lump sum, and I believe that that will be great, a great asset and contribution to our people for the work that they do. This is about the work that they do. And so we will continue to advance the package relative to increases 5%, looking at start of January 2023, 2.5% 2024, an additional 2.5% 2025. So that is our full complement. That portion of the package is still waiting final approval by the New Orleans City Council. However, it is packaged and it's ripe to go. So we're excited about that. And that would have gathered a full complement of 20% increase in wages under this administration, under this board's leadership, in conjunction with the city of New Orleans. Also wanted to highlight, of course, Secretary Mayorkas' visit here to the utility. We continue to work with our federal partners. And of course, when they visit us and make site visits, it's just an example of how important this utility is, not just to New Orleans, to the state of Louisiana, but to the United States of America. One of the things also, fielding questions from our employees, they referenced Jackson, Mississippi. And when they referenced Jackson, Mississippi, asking if that could be us. Well, if we were not advancing the investments and standing up what we know our utility needs, and we've been relentless in this over the past 4 years, and that's because we know that our utility has been fragile. We know that it has been inadequate, but we also understand that's why we have invested and continue to invest in this utility. So we do not become Mississippi. However, this utility, we did what we always do. We extended that hand. We reached out to our brothers and sisters of Jackson, Mississippi, stood up water, advanced it, and of course, working and talking directly to my brother mayor in Jackson, Chokwe. And so just wanted to make that note. Also, final approval of the bond commission. So we want to say thank you to all of the members of the State Bond Commission for standing with us, and of course that of Governor John Bell Edwards as well for having that continued support. So upcoming, we will have an amnesty program for all of our folks, our customers. So look forward to that. It's much like we stood up actually prior to COVID-19. It was very effective across the board, not just with this utility, but of course all areas within city government in terms of those fines and fees and the like, what we can forgive. So with that, thank you for indulging me with those quick updates and comments. And without further ado, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our August 17, 2022 board meeting. Motion to approve I need.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Director Sloss, seconded by Councilmember King. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the minutes have officially been adopted. Ms. Yolanda.
Now we have the executive director's report. Hassan?
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Great to be here. Feeling a little bit upbeat this morning. And I'd like to start off by sharing very good news on behalf of one of our employees. So I'm very, very elated to share with you that for the first time that I know of, where we've nominated one of our employees to PGR's awards, government awards, and while deserving, our Waldine Mitchell has won one of the awards and recognition. It's the Merit Award for Outstanding Performance by Public Sector Employee. I could not be happier, and when they interviewed me to talk about Waldine, I said, if you can find somebody better than Waldine to win that award, government is in good place. So with that, I'd like to ask you to maybe recognize and help me cheer for Waldine.
Ms. Waldine, absolutely.
Makes us feel good and makes us proud every day. So
Absolutely. And Ms. Waldine, when we had the employees meeting, I mean, you know, you were front and center, and the love of your colleagues was right there in the room for you. So thank you for everything that you do on our behalf, but most importantly, on behalf of all of the residents of our city. Thank you.
I'm trying to advance the, oh, here we are. Okay, awesome. All right, well, I have a short presentation for you this morning, and starting off with the financial stability, as you know, as a core focus for us, and just want to share a couple things with you. I know the Finance and Administration Committee heard it in much more detail, but the drainage budget amendment relative to the West Power Complex, the project is progressing very, very well. It's growing. Is becoming more detailed, and the costs associated with it due to escalation of cost and just recognizing what is needed in terms of all the required components associated with doing it and doing it right. Obviously, the price is growing. We've been saying the West Power Complex is more than just a substation, which is about $32 million. It's almost a $100 million project that we are undertaking. So we are in exactly where we need to be, progressing. We're staying on schedule. We're delivering each component, lining up with the one that following or before it. So it's sequencing very well. And I know Gray went into much more detail relative to that. So there's a reason why we asked for $52 million from the city and $40 million for that we're seeking from drainage tax bond, and why we have HUD earmark for a turbine in the amount of about $16 million. So it's all being cobbled together, for lack of a better term, to support a very, very large and important project. So it's progressing well, and we're very excited to continue to give you progress on that. The Entergy piece is moving forward. We're in communication with them. Obviously, we need to continue to coordinate, and we're talking about somewhat of a groundbreaking event sometime in the near future to kind of kick that project off, and you can start seeing construction out at the site that we've been preparing for quite some time. Again, like the mayor mentioned, finally the State Bond Commission, after a few hiccups, came to their senses, so to speak, and then supported the $39 million Priority 5, which allows it to be basically available for us next year. So in terms of continuity of project, that did not impact the progress, but obviously was alarming for us that, you know, we're going to lose $40 million. We would have needed to find it elsewhere, otherwise the project would have stopped. The Water Sector Commission, there's a new source of funding for us as a utility, which we're seeking. I believe that this is the first time we seek funding from that source. We're going after $16 million to support 4 different projects. Again, very excited. We feel we have a very good chance of obtaining those funds. We are in the midst of finalizing our rate adjustment and affordability proposal that we will bring to you next month. Obviously, before that, we will socialize it with as many of you as possible based on availability. Obviously, starting with you, Mayor, we'll come to you and walk you through what we feel we need to do to keep this utility, on keeping the momentum going and continue to invest in infrastructure that we need. A lot of critical projects, and without funding, we would not be able to do what we need to do on behalf of our city. Any questions on?
Any questions?
I just want to just make a point that we've gone after grant funding more in this administration than we've done in the past. It would be nice to see and be able to tout how much funding we've received in grants, basically showing the public that we're actually going after funds to try to pay for some of these things. So just an update on that, probably at the next board meeting would be great.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, one rises to the top is the WIFIA, obviously, and the
Yes.
mayor, I know, made a trip to DC and, basically planted the seed and said, this is where the money is for us, and $275 million later allowing us to finish our consent decree program. So it's just awesome. So thank you.
The nature of it,
Yeah.
I think it's a win for this organization.
Obviously, absolutely. Thank you. Very excited to share with you and again update you on the smart meter program. Phase 1 is complete, and then we are entering phase 2 in earnest. And I gotta tell you, the team is being so thoughtful about doing this project right, because we know we've seen it done right, and we've seen it done not so right. And the implications are obviously huge. So extremely thoughtful, extremely thorough, thinking about everything that is associated with the project, not just putting a smart meter in the ground. So they're looking at the protocols and SOPs of how to do it, the outreach. They're thinking about the future staffing needs, training that we need to move people from a simple reading a meter task to maybe they become more of a technician if they have the aptitude to do so, or the willingness. So we're being very, very thoughtful. Obviously, the supply chain issue will impact this project, so we're anticipating what that may look like. So we would order meters well before we need to install them. So when we are ready, they're here for us. So we're projecting, obviously, with the help of our vendor and installer. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are falling into place.
Anticipated deployment, is that the installation of the meters, or is that the program going active?
Anticipating supply chain, is it?
Anticipated deployment at the bottom. When it
Last
says,
item.
Yes, that's the actual starting in earnest to see.
that's quicker than you originally anticipated.
It's on schedule. We had a bit of a hiccup a couple months ago, but we're trying to make up for that.
23 just came fast.
No, it's faster than I thought. I mean, this is being
You
deployed
can't do it
more
fast
quickly than I
enough.
thought.
Obviously, the key here is that the deployment will be done in phases,
Yeah.
as I've said. So routes can be rolled into the new system while we're updating or deploying the next route and the following. So it's not all or nothing. It's like one at a time.
Yeah.
So it's very, very exciting that we'll be moving people from the antiquated process today to actually smart meter sooner rather than later. Obviously, a key and critical piece of that is the network installation, meaning towers. And again, I can't be more proud of the team of how thoughtful they're being, looking for our properties, city property, DOTD properties, trying to be thoughtful where they can put, a 100-foot or more tower to be efficient and capture signals. So we want this project to be as seamless and smooth and as successful as possible. So, any questions?
Nope.
All right. Continuing with customer service initiatives, again, the mayor talked about the amnesty program. we're excited to participate as part of that program. We have in the past successfully. Again, it's basically extending goodwill to our customers and allowing the opportunity to and encourage them to go from being where they are basically delinquent to good standing. We believe that this will also bring us good results. It's one of those things where people are afraid to call us because they don't know what to do, and if you incentivize that first step and let us talk to you and show you that there are ways to allow you to pay back what you owe, and that with a plan that meets your needs, and we're very hopeful that this will work. Obviously, there's some criteria just to be fair and to be consistent, and we're hopeful. In terms of power and pumping, I know we show you this every time just for assurance that we have ample pumping capacity as well as power. All the turbines that we have are available and in working order. EMDs and static frequency changers are all, I shouldn't say all, but most of them are in place, so we have no concerns with that. It's obviously worthy to point out that we've had a rainy season, and between July and August, practically every day was a rainy day. It's just been a wet season, to say the least, and we've had very few issues throughout the city. I mean, it hasn't been perfect, but we have been managing it very well, and thanks entirely to the GSO's team, and anticipating and doing everything that they need to do to stay ahead of storms and what have you. So
I had a question about it.
yes, sir.
Are we on schedule with T7?
Yes, T7 is part of the West Power Complex, so it's moving forward. Yes.
No supply chain issue or anything like that? Right?
Not that I'm aware of, but
Good.
yeah. And that started a while
While
back
ago,
in
yeah.
terms, as well as the frequency changers. And the last slide I have is stakeholder engagements. We've been out quite a bit. The picture to the top left, it's our staff from Environmental Affairs took advantage of Parking Day that the city offers once a year, allowing us space in the parking space basically, and kind of repurposing that space for businesses and utilities like us to occupy that space for that day, and we took advantage. And there were a lot this was on St. Charles, just right at St. Joe's, and we've interacted with a lot of folks. We did a couple quizzes, and it was a fun day for our employees to be out and interacting with our customers. We attended the changing of the command for the Corps of Engineers. Colonel Jones has taken over from Colonel Murphy. We were part of that, wishing obviously Colonel Murphy the best wishes, and he had been a very good partner with us. And obviously this is key partnership for us because of the SELA projects and the amount of investment that the federal government continues to put into our city, and allowing us to leverage a huge amount of money that they bring to improve how we drain our city. So again, partnership is key. I made it to U.S. Water Alliance Summit in Milwaukee, my old hometown, and got to meet a lot of my colleagues, former colleagues. This is a picture with the mayor of Milwaukee, a representative from EPA, which was very present in that summit, allowing us to ask a lot of good questions and kind of learn the ropes, so to speak, about what's coming around the corner in terms of funding. And to my right is the new superintendent for water works. It was a good day, gathering as much information and networking. I'm on the board for U.S. Water Alliance, so obviously I attended for that reason. This Saturday, we're attending the mayor's neighborhood engagement there's a neighborhood leaders roundtable that we will be there. I will be there presenting on the status of the utility and talking to all the leaders and neighborhood leaders in the city. So it's exciting opportunity for us to field questions, but also share the good news that's happening at the utility. And last Sunday, we taped an endorsement to Healthy Community Services for a grant that they've received to do a couple key green infrastructure projects in the city, and one project helping us capture debris in one of the canals before the debris makes it to the pumping station. So again, seeking partnership wherever we can find it, some usual, some unusual places, and continue to advocate for healthy utility that we need to be. So with that concludes. Oh, I shouldn't. I should conclude with talking a bit about WAFTAC. Obviously, many of you are interested in participating. We think it's going to be an awesome conference, very large event. It's a global event, actually. A lot of people come from outside the United States, well attended. We are participating in many, many ways, from welcoming to speaking to whatever they ask us as a host city. We're doing our part. So obviously, I encourage you to find time and come spend some time with us, learn from others, and maybe just talk about our utility. And I think it would be very, time well spent for everybody. So with that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. I'll just encourage everyone to participate. That is coming. It's always good when you can see best practices, but also see your utility show up amongst those best practices. Let's recognize Director Taylor, who has joined us since the start, and Ms. Yolanda.
So now we have our committee reports, Finance and Administration, Director Sloss.
Thank you. Good morning. The Finance and Administration Committee met Tuesday, September 13th, in the boardroom at about 9:03, called to order. I was there, present, I should say, along with Directors Peixoto and Markowitz. First thing we looked at was a cash flow overview presented by our CFO, Gray Lewis, and we have sufficient cash flow to meet our obligations and our requirements, and we have sufficient cash. We have also sufficient debt service coverage, all of which are important things. We had an update on receivables, and we are down 8% on receivables, or $5.2 million, which obviously is meaningful. And so normal collections are paying off. We also collected about $26 million that month, which is the highest month that I can recall, which probably didn't say much, but it's the highest month in a while, I'll say that. Customer calls were down about 8%, and delinquent balances, as I said, are down 8%. We had an update on the West Power Complex. I don't want to repeat what Executive Director Corbin just said, but we approved budget for that, and which is obviously a good thing going forward. We had 4 action items that were approved, 2 contract awards or renewals, 5 contract change orders, 2 final acceptances. There were a lot of things that we did. We had the usual information items that we're accustomed to seeing on a monthly basis. We had no public comment, and at that being no further business, we adjourned at approximately 9:55. That's my report.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor.
All right. So we need a motion to approve the Finance and Administration's report as presented.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, moved by Director Peixoto, seconded by Director Barnes. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The report has been adopted. Strategy Committee, Director Barnes.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The Strategy Committee met on Tuesday, August 9th at 9 a.m. Present were myself, Directors Sloss, Howard, and Schultz. The meeting started with a presentation from Tyler Antrup talking about the implementation of the strategic plan, and he discussed how the implementation is being monitored and tracked in large part by the Operations Committee, thanks to my colleague Janet Howard, who's chair of that committee, which will allow the Strategy Committee to turn their focus to other planning processes. Mr. Anthrop gave a brief update on the focus areas and goals and the tactics that are being used to track progress on a dashboard. The committee members' concerns with the dashboard were addressed and will be worked out with continuous improvement and communication. Mr. Anthrop discussed how the implementation working groups are continuing to meet and complete tactics as they move forward, and we were just very pleased to see an overall adoption of the strategic plan and how the staff is focusing on it. Moving forward, the implementation will continue. We will be tracking metrics to determine if tactics are completed and that we are continuing to drive progress. The working groups continue to add new tactics as others are completed. And they are beginning to work on the 2023 work plan. As you all know, this is an annual process now. So we had a 5-year strategic plan, and then there's an annual work plan each year as it moves forward. Moving forward, the focus area deep dives will be on a reoccurring schedule before the Operations Committee. Looking ahead, we then discussed how the staff plans to develop master plans for the Sewage and Water Board's 3 systems, and that's water treatment, wastewater treatment, several systems, but technical plans for water treatment, wastewater treatment, water distribution, sewer, and drainage and storm water. And we will be developing plans for these. The committee was generally supportive of the approach, but asked a lot of detailed questions about how these plans would be developed into an overarching master plan that prioritizes and distills the recommendations of all the technical plans. The committee also asked that additional information be provided on how technical data, including future climate scenarios, will be utilized to guide decision-making. Finally, Mr. Anthrop provided an overview of how the staff and leadership team plan to begin to engage with customers. We heard a little bit about that today, through listening sessions and strengthening community partnerships to build trust. The committee suggested that a multitude of partnerships be explored, existing partnerships, neighborhood associations, community groups, also partnerships with higher educational partners, workforce development groups, and such, as this really needs to be a community process. There was no further business, and the meeting adjourned at approximately 10:28 a.m.
Very good. Thank you very much, Director Barnes. Pretty effective meeting, sounds like.
It was meeting. Meeting a lot.
Yeah, we need a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Director Howard. We have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Duplessis. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the report of the Strategy Committee has been adopted. Ms. Yolanda.
Now we have Resolution 137, 2022, authorization for CEA between the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and the New Orleans Community Support Foundation. Ghassan?
Thank you. Madam Mayor, as you may remember, about 3 years ago or so, we've started in this room the conversation about civil service and alternative civil service. And we all came to the conclusion, for the folks who were in the room, that at minimum what we need to do for our employees is provide them with alternatives to civil service and let them collectively choose where they want to be. And we feel that that's an extremely important and critical project and effort. So we started that at the time in earnest, and we had, let's say, call it phase 1. And because of COVID, the project stalled. And what we're trying to do today is resume that effort by actually pursuing through a CA with GNOF, seeking expertise in the field, whether labor law attorneys, to provide us with alternatives to what a utility like us can do in terms of HR. there's no foregone conclusions, but just we need to explore and research what other utilities look like, and we will present it to our employees. This process will be owned and monitored, and the employees will be participating in that process from A to Z in terms of where we would end up being. And at the end of the day, if the employees don't want it, don't want change, change will not take place. If they want it, we're offering them an alternative that they want to, and then that's when we would seek legislation to change where we are. If the, I guess this is not my call. I don't think it will be the board's call. It will be the employees' call. If they want it, that will make it much more successful. And at the end of the day, we're looking for a better environment, work environment for our employees, more flexibility, more autonomy. And if the collective desire is there, we would do it. But now this will allow us to do the research and the feasibility and the study to provide our staff and our employees with the alternatives and what those will look like. So obviously we're seeking your support to let us advance that effort.
Sure. So to your point, we started on this journey over 3 years ago with the real focus on our employees, giving them the level of flexibility that we know that they do deserve, but also demonstrating to them that we were not wanting to take anything away, that we were really just trying to make improvements. And so this is about trust building. I always love the fact when you can go back to what you started. The pandemic stopped so much, but when you're true to it, you go back to it and bring it along. And that's what we're doing here this morning. So thank you also to the leadership here. I know Director Sloss, Director Howard, and the partnership with the Greater New Orleans Foundation. So with that, we need a motion to approve the CEA as presented and described by Ghassan.
So moved.
We have a motion. Director Barnes.
We'll be doing a discussion.
You can second.
We need a second. Seconded by Director Sloss, and we have our first question.
Well, yeah, I think we have an amendment
Yes.
because there was a
Error. There was a clerical error.
in
But
the
we circulated the,
Yes, there's a so I'm asking for an amendment.
resolution didn't call for any action.
So the last paragraph, there was a clerical error. It was submitted improper, a wrong one was submitted. So we would like to do a friendly amendment, and I'll read the amendment that should be added to the resolution.
yeah, and that amended copy or version was distributed
This
via
morning.
email to board members.
And so that amendment would be for the last paragraph of the resolution to read, "Now, therefore be it resolved, the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans be authorized to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the New Orleans Community Support Foundation for the purpose of hiring a consultant to perform research and analysis of various workforce model options, make a recommendation for the board's consideration, and provide implementation plans for the model adopted by the board, all for the ultimate purpose of better serving the people of New Orleans."
Okay, very good. So we do have a motion and we have a second on the floor. What I will need to entertain a motion to amend as presented.
So move.
Okay, moved by Director Pacho,
Second.
seconded by Director Duplessis. So we have a motion. This is on the amendment, and then we'll adopt the full as amended. So any other, Poco, you had a?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay, so first, okay, so we will vote on the motion, and then we will vote on as amended, meaning as a whole. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, that's passed. Now we will vote on as amended fully. So we have a motion and a second, and all in favor of adopting the motion as amended.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, so the amended motion has been fully adopted, and thank you all so
To
much.
be. Which is great.
So now we have Resolution R-135, 2022, preliminary resolution authorizing drainage system limited tax bonds. Jason?
Okay, Mr. Akers is here? Yeah, all right.
Jason Akers.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the board, officers. Thank you. Jason Akers with Foley and Udell. Pleasure to be with you. Just very quickly, want to speak about the resolution, but explain that this is a little bit different than the traditional water and sewer financings that you do, because those are paid out of user fees. Limited tax bonds are actually issued to fund the drainage system. It's paid out of the proceeds of existing ad valorem taxes. You have 3 ad valorem taxes that are levied for the benefit of the drainage system: a 3 mil, a 6 mil, and a 9 mil tax. That's what they're called. None of them are levied at those precise levels, and I think you have a resolution following shortly after this that's going to set those millage rates for the coming year. What we're asking is that you authorize the issuance of up to $45 million of drainage system limited tax bonds for a short term, not exceeding final maturity of December 1, 2028, and for an interest rate not to exceed 5%. Those bonds, when issued, will be secured by what we refer to as the 9 mil tax. It's actually levied at a rate of 7.06 mils now. Now, you might have caught that December 1, 2028 date is relatively short. It's a short-term borrowing. That's for a couple of reasons. One is that the actual expiration of that 9 mil tax is in 2031, so we don't have a whole lot of time to use that 9 mil tax to secure the debt. Secondly, and I want to recognize Lisa Lawrence and Ricardo Callender with PFM here, have worked with Gray and his team to prepare a drainage analysis, a feasibility analysis for funding of the system. And this indicates that over the next 6 years, this borrowing could be supported by the system without jeopardizing any sort of operations of the system. And that's critical because in 2027, one of the taxes, the 6 mil tax, actually expires. So there needs to be some foresight soon into looking into what to do with the drainage system funding going forward with the renewal of that millage and other opportunities that are before you. But for now, we're asking that you just secure this with the 9 mil tax. It's got plenty of time left. It won't jeopardize operations. There is a current bond issue that's secured by that 9 mil tax. Its final maturity is December 1 of this year. That's going to free up about $2.5 million a year as well. So that's you're taking advantage of that expiration. With your approval today, this goes to the Board of Liquidation this afternoon. It goes to the Public Works Committee of the City Council tomorrow morning at 10, and then, if approved there, to the City Council meeting on October 6th. And then it will go to State Bond Commission, and then it'll all come back to you, to Board of Liquidation, and to City Council again for final approval with the sale of the bonds. That's the Board of Liquidation's responsibility to sell the bonds. They'll be working with PFM to do that, but it will come back to you for final approval of the terms. I think I've kind of hit the high points. Is there anything that we need to add? Okay, thank you. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akers, for that. Any questions for Jason at this time? Okay. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the resolution as presented by Mr. Akers.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Taylor, seconded by Director Howard. Any questions here? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, we have fully adopted the resolution, and it will move through those various steps discussed by Mr. Akers. And when you mention Board of Lick, of course, I just have to say again, may our fierce leader, Mary Zervigon, rest in peace. All right. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, Ms. Yolanda.
Resolution 136, 2022, amendment of 2022 capital budget and revision of 2022 through 2031 capital program. Gray, our CFO.
All right, thank you. Resolution 136 provides for specific capital budget update for 4 capital programs related to the drainage system's West Power Complex. The increased capital budget is based on our reperforming the full matching exercise to identify all the relevant financing plans on a contract-by-contract basis. This mid-year update uses a more current and informed estimates on the cost, takes advantage of the additional funding sources that have arisen, and ultimately provides the path forward in terms of our financing so we can remain on track for the Phase 1 in 2024. So we thank the board's action to vote to amend the capital budget for our drainage program.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis, for that. So we have a motion, I need a motion, to approve the resolution as presented by our CFO, Mr. Lewis.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Director Sloss. Seconded by Director Taylor. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we have officially approved the motion. Thank you very much, the resolution.
And now we have Resolution 118, 2022, request to set sewage and water board drainage millage rates for 2023, and we will need a roll call vote. Gray?
Yes, thank you. This resolution is our annual procedural resolution to formally request City Council to set our drainage millage rates for 2023. There are no changes in our 3, 6, and 9 mil tax rates, and the rate revenues will be determined once the tax rolls are certified. So we thank the board for the roll call vote to continue in January with our same 3 millages, which allows our drainage taxes to be collected by the city on behalf and our services to continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis. Same 3 mills, setting it for 2023. We need a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Director Howard. Seconded by Director Duplessis. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Oh, we'll do a roll call.
Oh,
vote.
roll call vote, that's exactly right.
Mayor Cantrell?
Oh, I get to vote. Yay.
Councilmember King?
Yes. Yes.
Director Barnes?
Yes.
Director Duplessis?
Yes.
Director Markowitz? Director Guzman? Director Pacho?
Yes.
Director Sloss?
Yes.
Director Howard?
Yes.
Director Scholas? Director Taylor?
Yes.
Passes, Mayor.
All right, so the motion to approve has passed. The resolution has approved. So thank you very much. Ms. Yolanda.
Now we have corresponding resolutions, 10 corresponding resolutions that were approved at our Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
So the motions to approve, we're going to have someone speak to it, right?
No.
Someone speak to it?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. See, when you stand up, I have to pay attention. It's all about action every time. So with that, I know the corresponding resolutions were embedded in the Finance and Administration's report, and as presented, we need a motion to approve in global all corresponding resolutions.
So moved.
Moved by Director Taylor,
Second.
seconded by Director Duplessis. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, the resolutions have been approved. Thank you, Ms. Yolanda.
Now we have information items, and there are no public comments.
No public comment. I always think about Mr. Lloyd Lazard. May he rest in peace. You bring your people along with you. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve, to adjourn.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.